But first, the more things change in this country, the more they stay the same. Just after Victorians were told by their chairman and even the Prime Minister that lockdowns have to be the last resort, what happens? Daniel Andrews locks down at the 18 case mark. 18 cases. And not just Metro Melbourne, not Melbourne and maybe Geelong because they've got a couple of cases, but the entire state of Victoria. They all keep saying it's with an abundance of caution. Well, for regional Victorians in particular, it creates an abundance of pain. And tonight, I'll be speaking with a regional Victorian who is downright mad about it. And the Daily Dan from 2020, I'm telling you, he is back in full flight, very comfortable in his daily appearances in front of the cameras. He declared yesterday that you only get one chance to go hard and early. No, you don't. For him, it's not one, it's 5. You don't beat it. And that is the point. Now, on the politics of all of this, we know he spent millions of dollars monitoring the public's reaction in Victoria to what he did last year. So he's got politics well and truly on his mind. And if you look closely, if you look at those press conferences, this one today, he has this uncanny ability to get in front of the cameras and use this disproportionate and risk-averse approach to show himself up as a hero. And this is how he does it.
This is not a mission to be popular. This is not about, seeking praise. It's about getting the job done.
Really? Not about popularity, not about praise? You see, that's the setup. He says that almost every time he's put on the mat about whether he's doing the right thing and whether he's upset the Victorian public. And then in response to a question today about how his whinging to the federal government has worked, well, he goes straight into Superman mode. Have a look.
I will never stop fighting for my state. That's what I do every single day. Whether it's polite, whether it's... doesn't matter. Like you just get the job done. So I will continue to fight for more for Victoria. That's a really important part of the role that I have.
It's like the old Superman serial. Fight for the American way, you know? This bloke could sell ice to the Eskimos. The facts are none of the 24 cases in Victoria are sick enough to be hospitalised. That's an important point. Now, meanwhile, New South Wales has had another day with far too many newly infected people having circulated in the community. Of those 97 new cases, 32 were spreaders. 3/4 of those came from the southwestern Sydney hotspots. That's Fairfield, Liverpool and Canterbury Bankstown. And it became clear today from what the Premier was saying that Gladys Berejiklian is on the verge of applying tougher restrictions, probably only on those hotspots.
Look, we all think we need to do more, all of us collectively, and that's why government will continue to review the settings based on the health advice. And if Dr Champ says to us there's further things we need to introduce to reduce mobility, of course we will do that. Please know we will not hesitate to do that. I know the sentiment that exists in Greater Sydney, including with all of us, is we want to end this lockdown as soon as we can. We don't want this to drag on, and we know the community wants us to do more, so long as that means the lockdown isn't extended for a longer period, and that's really our focus.
Well, what has clearly dented Gladys Berejiklian's gold standard record and frustrated New South Wales health officials in particular is how their successful light lockdown approach can't seem to beat this new variant.
I was informed that at least one scientific paper says that this particular variant is almost 1,000 times more infectious than the previous variants. So the challenge that's being presented to the Fairfield local government area community is enormous.
1,000 times more, not 30% more, not 60% more, 1,000 times more. If that's not an exaggeration, we can probably have faith in the fact that we'll be locked down for a lot longer. And that applies to Queensland, where the state has several cases of Delta of their own right now, and we know how much the Premier there likes a good lockdown. As we all wonder when these large numbers in New South Wales might fall, and Peter Collignon told me last night when I was filling in for Alan that he thinks they'll start to fall from the weekend, maybe Monday. Sydney University has done some very complex modelling, and when that will be, they think they know. So if 80% of Sydney-siders follow the rules, according to their calculations, it will last a month longer. That, they say, takes us to August the 13th, 80% compliance. But the modelling found that if only 70% remain compliant, it would last 2 months, taking the lockdown to September 10. If you're in New South Wales, are you ready for that? That will see a lockdown in the rough range of 80 days, not far from Dan's 112. Are you ready for that? Oh, and by the way, Victorians have been in lockdown now, not for 1 day, but for a total of 174 days all up in this pandemic. Worse still, school children have been away from the classroom in Victoria 116 days in total. As I've said before, for all this abundance of caution, there is an abundance of pain that comes with it.